not working around the clock, you're not working coast to coast, and when's the perfect time to do it? A couple different things. So I would say once you've built up a clientele, and I'd say once you know you have a following, you're in demand. I mean, your biggest problem right now is not, on one hand, for most trainers who just get started, not getting enough clients to stay full. It's where do I put them all and running out of time to service them all. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right. So that's one case. If that's where you're at, then it's definitely time for you to really look hard at putting together a group, because you have something. You may not have figured out what it is and how I'm going to package that for somebody yet, but it's sitting there waiting for you to do that. The other instance is when I get really lucky and I have a great personal training client and suddenly I have a huge need. That's how Jason got started, right? So I had a huge need. We knew he was coming on board. He was probably going to take over, and my need actually came quicker than we thought. Kind of like a baby, we hope, right, Jason? Yeah. So Jason jumped right into it, and maybe into a potentially vulnerable situation for him, because he's in there and he's not the trainer who was there the day before, and that trainer's not coming back. So he took over and he actually grew it for about 2 years, getting up earlier than he wanted to and going to bed earlier probably than he wanted to, or not, and suffering during the day because of it. But he did a great job. So any instance works, and you all know what your niche is. If you look around the table, some of you can look at the guy who you would have to possibly describe to another member of our club and say, well, if you need this, you should go to this. You should go to him, or you should go to her. And you know exactly what you would describe as your niche. I would suggest that at the end of our just talking about Beyond Bootcamp, what happens, that you do that for each other, because Chris probably thinks about you, Corey, in a way that you may not even realize. That this is you're the go-to guy if I run into a client who's this, that, or the other thing. And likewise, Anthony, I think we kind of all know what we think is your niche, but you might have a different input and different take on that. You know, so obviously we're all probably going to say, you know, boxing. Somebody wants that kind of out-of-the-box kind of cardio experience and wants to get something unusual. We're going to think, you know, let's build your bootcamp themes around that and see what we can do. But there may be something different to that, okay? So we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, and we'll get to kind of a workshop situation so that you can think about, you know, what's unique about me and what I have to offer, and how can that be a piece of what we're doing. So we have 12,000 members here. They're not all exercising, and they're not all exercising regularly enough to do some good. So if we could come up with the right kind of program and made it really affordable, because what are the biggest two objections that somebody has?
The money.
The money, and then what? You're either in one boat or the other. You either have all kinds of time and no money, or all kinds of money and no time. Has anybody got a client like that? A boss, a CEO, owns a company? Yes, right? And they're equally as hard to help and motivate and make them see the value in, you know, not working all the time. So there is no easy way at it, and those two are both very believable excuses, if you will, or concerns, obstacles when you get to the point of sale. So leveraging your time is what we're trying to do. So that means, right now, Chris, what are your busiest hours?
Like mornings.
Yeah, like mornings, what to what?
5 a.m. to 10 or 11 a.m.
And then what happens?
And I get to go sleep.
That's what we do. And then when you get busy again?
4 to 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay. So if you could take some of those people and service them better in fewer hours and not be here contact hours, why so much would that be a good thing for you?
Why?
Would it be a good thing for you?
So I can sleep more.
Yeah. That's your why?
I mean, yeah, I'd say have more free time to do whatever I want to do, study more, you know, not feel burnout if I need to do errands or this, that, or whatever. So that would be probably my biggest thing.
So where's the reason why you're not doing it now?
Outside of just never occurred to me. That's
Okay,
probably,
that's a good reason.
probably a
That's a
good
good reason. If it has occurred to you, why might you not do it?
if like 2 clients are too different.
2 clients are too different, so you couldn't put them necessarily in the same group?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you do have to be really specific with your marketing, right? So you really got to say, okay, what's my niche? What can I offer them? What's my real target? And that may be broad at first. So I mean, you're going to have to funnel all of these things down, right? You're going to have to say, what's my niche? What's my big interest? What books are on my nightstand? What am I, for fun, reading that someone else would think strange? Okay? That's what makes you unique. So if you can come up with that package, then you know what you need to know for marketing purposes. And when we're in a one-on-one sale, what's one of the first things we have to know? First, we give them a preview of what's going to happen. We ask them why they're there. And then what's the second thing that we're trying to target? What are we trying to figure out?
Their goals.
Their goals and some kind of a gap between their goals and where they are now, which we refer to as their pain or their problem or their challenge. What's in that big divide between the cliff over here they're standing on and the one over here they want to be on, right? So that's what we need to do when we're actually writing great ad copy for a big group also. We need to do the same thing. It's not as personal because you don't get the interaction that you have. But if you're doing a print ad or you're putting across in your Facebook post or you're creating a flyer that somebody's going to read and say, that's me, you have to really do the same thing, but you probably have to do it very creatively because you don't have the back and forth. You can't ask an open-ended question and then a closed-ended question to follow that up to get somewhere with it. But you've got to think in your head, okay, of these people that I have worked with, I have seen them, or me, I've been in that situation. What's been my problem? What would have got me here where I am right now today faster had I known it then? So how many of you believe that some of the clients that we see and we start to work with could potentially exercise on their own and get there, but maybe not as fast because they're going to meander more, either during their workouts, literally talking to each other too much instead of being efficient and effective, or just, you know, they're not as accountable, they don't get in every session that they should, or they cut off a few minutes here and a few minutes there, and then pretty soon it's a half hour instead of an hour that they should be spending. So would you agree that sometimes people could get it done themselves, but they just won't get it done as quickly and efficiently as you can help them do, right? So if you can think about your niche, who your market is, who you typically work with well, then what's their pain or their problem? Because your next task is to how do I phrase that for them in a way that I could ask a question. So if you flip through women's magazines, men's magazines, it doesn't matter, but the really good ads or the really good headlines or the things that are on the cover of the magazine that make you pick it up in the first place often are a question. I mean, they're a grabber. And you're wondering what the answer is, and that's why you start flipping and you read some more. So you want to figure out what's the question that I can ask in my copy. Are you tired all the time? Are you wishing that you had more energy? Are you wishing you had more energy, more to give your family at the end of the day after you've worked all day so that you could actually play with your children? Yeah. You know, and that's just an example, but that's kind of piggybacking off of, okay, what do I need to say to a mom who needs to exercise, who needs to start giving herself some time in her busy, busy day when, what is she doing to herself? She feels guilty because she's at work all day, that she would take more time to herself then and not go get some exercise before she goes home. So whatever that might be to help her shake the guilt and get to where she needs to go. That's what your goal is. So you need to really think about what's their pain, their need, their problem, their challenge, so that you can help them see, this is how I'm going to help you overcome it. So think about what the majority of American women look like. What's the percentage that's not exercising as much as they need to affect their health and fitness? Statistic, throw one out at me. What is it?
75%.
75, 77, someone will say 80, okay, but right there is high, right? So what do they look like? Give me some descriptions. Don't be mean, but give me some descriptions.
Pear-shaped.
Pear-shaped, very nice. We're talking fruit now,
Pumpkins.
okay? Pumpkins, because it's October, okay? What else? Would you call them hard-bodied? No?
They look like they don't move.
They look like they don't move much. Very good. Okay. So in that description, now we've got one image in your head, and you're all being very politically correct. Very nice. What do they want to look like?
Supermodel.
Supermodels? Okay. Now this is what they want to look like. Now we
Oh.
What else?
Celebrities.
Celebrities, yeah. The image, the magazine cover, the airbrushed, whatever, right? So if we can help them, we're not going to help them too much by just saying, that's been airbrushed, that's not real. It doesn't matter, they're still going to want it, right? Santa's not bringing that down the chimney, you still wanted it, right? So the ideal is figuring out how can we take them from A to B, or along the way, maybe we reroute and rewire their thinking so that the value of it changes. Weight is the bait, right? So it's not that we're agreeing to all things that we're going to promise, and we're not going to promise all things unrealistically, okay? Deciding who you are, what your brand is, how you want to speak, that's really important. But you do have to promise them something. You got to promise, how am I going to deliver that to you? And here she is, here's what she wants to look like. So the promise has to somehow be, so what's the best time for them to exercise? I mean, if you were trying to develop a group for that person, what would it be? So I'm looking at a bunch of single men, maybe, look back here.
9 to 10. Kids are off to school.
Okay, but they're a working mom.
Okay, 5 to 6. 5:30 to 6:30.
AM sided things or PM?
Either one.
Either one, okay?
I thought you.
What were you
I thought
gonna
you.
say?
No, I just thought you said they weren't working. Stay at home.
I meant to say they were working, sorry. So lots of obstacles is what I meant. Time really is an issue, and money maybe too, but time is really an issue.
Maybe lunchtime.
Lunchtime, we could do lunch. There you go. I kind of like the way you said that, actually. We could do lunch. I can see him in an ad saying that, so, okay. Probably the key times, right? Because what happens on the weekends? Soccer, swimming,
Football.
and football, right? Right? I just painted Melissa's life right now. So, the days and the times. What time of day? We already got that. The days, probably weekdays. So the days and the times we've got fairly well set, right? So now it's how many of them, how many contacts are we going to have with somebody in order to actually see a change. So of all the programs out there, talk to me. How many days a week do most of the programs meet with groups? And there could be multiple answers here.
I don't know, say 4 to 5 times a week.
4 to 5. Anybody else aware of any more frequency, higher frequency than that? 6. I think there's a program that does 6 right here among your competitors, actually. Y'all didn't know that? Okay. More research. Okay. There is. And it's because that happens in some businesses, people come looking for that and think that maybe they're not getting enough value if they don't have that option. And it's not that probably all participants will go that many days a week, but it's nice to know that you have the option, right? And sometimes that's what they're buying. The knowledge I have the option to go 6 days, even though if I were really honest with myself, I'm gonna go 3. You know, and I'm not even gonna go make that up on a Saturday morning when I could, but it's nice to know it's there. We sell an awful lot of memberships, possibly because we have a pool to people who never swim. To make it a little bit more exclusive, then you may want to price it higher, because this is very cliche in parts, right? But what do people think? What's the connotation with price?
Better quality.
Right, I'm gonna charge more, it must be better. Pair of jeans for $299 versus the pair of jeans for $75. They both fit,